What did you know this is broken? It's like, yes guys, I know, but it's like 3 minutes to pass, and then on stream I just have to try and ignore it, otherwise I'm just talking to the past people and all sorts of nonsense. Anyways, let's kick this off with this ZvP to start us off today in Frost. To the bottom left hand side of the map, our red Protoss player is going to be the German powerhouse, the champion of WCS Season 2 this year, the Spring Championship. He is ShoWTimE. And his opponent here, obviously picking a bit of a tough opponent, or getting a tough opponent in the first round. Let's see if he can creativity his way to victory. It is TLO, our blue Zerg player to the bottom right hand side from Team Liquid. As we kick things off into this best of 5 series, we're going to be seeing ShoWTimE already opening with just a gateway down on the low ground here. So already looking to just set up a wall while expanding early in the game. And TLO, well, just a hatch gas pool from him. Not going to go free hatch. Can't really go free hatch if this probe around would be able to block that and stop that from happening. So probe already across the map. And just scouting here early. One of the benefits of building that gateway on the low ground, the probe is already kind of, I mean, it's not really a benefit, but a little bit of a side effect. The probe's already on the low ground, kind of out towards the front. Very easy to move across the map very swiftly. So yeah. So we'll be seeing a cybercore coming down at the front. I'm just going to be seeing the probe scouring. Sorry. So yeah, I mean, not really much going on. Just Nexus coming down, ZvP just having a little bit of a look to kind of see what's going on here in the early stages, and yeah, just going to be seeing the kind of mid-game get set up. I mean, it's one of these matchups where you generally do for quite some time just see the sort of setup phase of the game. And that sort of setup phase of the game generally takes a little while unless you see some kind of early all-in. So we'll see maybe an in-depth poking out. But for the first few minutes, we're probably just going to see TLO head up to a third base. And well, we'll start to see the sort of the tech tree that ShoWTimE is going to be taking here. Whether that is going to be a, whether that's going to be a Twilight Council or something different. It is going to be the Twilight. Horizontal spawns on Frost are pretty good, actually, to go for this sort of Resonating Glaives build order, and that is most likely what we're going to be seeing out of ShoWTimE here today, as we see those couple of links just chasing that probe away. ShoWTimE just checking to see the third base is going to be coming down. We're only 2 minutes 40 seconds in, so I mean, third base coming down, pretty standard timing. However, TLO is not slowing down at all with Zergling production. He's making a lot of lings, and he's stuck at just 19 workers, which means he is completely committed to basically a 2-base all-in. And this drone is a little bit of a faking. I see him pulling it back now. He's got absolutely no need, nor the minerals, for a third hatchery. And so we're going to be seeing these lings coming across the bottom side. We're going to be seeing some dropping into the main. And ShoWTimE might be in a little bit of trouble here right from the get-go. As we see, well, he does have a Stalker coming into position. These lings, they are about to have lings, so we're going to see a Bane Nest follow up. So this is super aggressive from TLO. You know, it's going to be lings in the main base already. Then he'll be Bane and busting behind this. We see that Stalker in the mineral line so that he can't get surrounded immediately. So the probe's going to be pulled to help out against it. Nice little bit of micro there by ShoWTimE. Look at that. The Stalker is going to get away. Really nice control from ShoWTimE there for the probes. And that's going to keep him alive for now, as we see TLO still elevatoring up with this one single Overlord. The Bane Nest now ready, and so the first Balins will start to morph in. TLO, a little bit of a supply block here. 3 extra Overlords on the way. It's a lot of Overlords to be making when you're only on 36 over 36. As this aggression continues, now the Mothership Core is out, as we see already going to the low ground. Some probes, well, they're going to be found almost immediately here. Resonating Glaives on the way up, but these Baners are going to be pretty darn good against any sort of Adepts which come into play. As TLO just wants to think about how he wants to kind of make this work. We're going to see probes being used to put down some pylons here to set up a little bit of a wall. These Balins on their way in as the overcharge is coming down, and well, TLO actually unpowers 2 gateways there and the Twilight, and with that kind of all unpowered, that's pretty important, because unpowered, that means no Resonating Glaives, less production as well. Full wall off here at the front for ShoWTimE, as we see TLO getting a good connection with those few bins, but he needs more than this. He needs more probe kills. He's still 7 workers behind in this game, and only on 2 bases as well, so this is really kind of a move from TLO, which has to try and kill his opponent. He is 17 armies supplied to the fore, but can he break on through? He's once again into the main with some more of these Zerglings, and more of them continuing to just come across the map at all times. Love this, the kind of single couple of lings just going towards the front still. Continuing, this is the one of the, this is what makes it so hard to hold this sort of build order, the fact that you're sort of set up in such a way, or you're sort of kind of, you have to fight in multiple locations all the time. The Zerg can hit in multiple locations. We're going to see this warp in coming in, Probe being pulled off the line. ShoWTimE still recognizing that he just needs to hold on, and he's going to be in a good spot, and that he can afford to lose a few more drones. Resonating Glaives was allowed to finish now as well. So that Twilight Council coming back on that line means that he is able to finish that up, as we once again see Lings reinforcing towards this main base. And TLO still trying to make this work. It's now only a 2-worker deficit for him, getting that Overlord speed. So intrigued to see what the kind of follow-up is from him. As we see him still 4 workers behind, still only making Zerglings. Now if, so he just wants to drop all the Lings in the main base at the same time, some Banelings as well. Okay, well that's definitely a way for him to deal with these Adepts. He's still really far ahead in terms of army supply. 1 Adept out currently. I mean, 2 more warping in at the front. Oh my god, but they're in the wrong place. Actually, I mean, you look at this, they are in the wrong side of this base. These units are going to go into the main, and the Adepts are locked out. There's no way in, not even really a recall available, because then he doesn't have an overcharge. And so this drop from TLO is actually going to do quite a lot of damage, because ShoWTimE is warping in on the wrong side of his wall. He thinks this aggression has ended. He thinks he's held it off, but the last thing he's expecting is a larger Overlord drop coming in here. As we see one last Bane morph it in. Oh no, ShoWTimE warps in on the other side of the wall once again, so he has got no warpings available currently for these Overlords heading in towards the main. I mean, TLO will see this, and he's going to be feeling pretty good. At the same time, TLO does have to get back home and defend. He does have a few Lings coming across there, though, and he does have the gas for Banelings. So TLO should be able to defend this, as we see him splitting up these units, and already you can see ShoWTimE pulling away, realizing the threat here. But in towards the main base, we see the rest of these units going. This Overlord is looking as though he's going to get away, as in the main we do see already some probes in trouble, although that's not the best of Baneling connections to begin with. But this might be right here. The Depths across the map starting to do some damage, but TLO is in the middle of the line, and probes are starting to go down, and now TLO takes a worker lead for the first time this game, I'm pretty sure. A few Stalkers over here, as we do see the Adepts have been dealt with as well. They've been taken down, forced away, 2 of them surviving back on TLO's side of the map. 1 single probe there, nearly going down at the very end, as TLO continues to drone, still down a base. That's worth keeping in mind here. He still doesn't have that 3rd hatchery in the game, but he will be able to continue being aggressive, I imagine. One thing for ShoWTimE, he didn't use an overcharge. Actually, he must have used an overcharge in that last defense. I think it was in the main base. But, actually, maybe it was in the natural, chasing this Overlord away over here. He actually still has 3 Banes and 2 Zerglings ready. As we see those 2 Adepts coming in, they're getting surrounded pretty swiftly. A little bit of a nuisance here, picking off another couple of drones. Workers killed so far this game, 28 by TLO, as he starts unloading 2 Overlords worth of units into the main. This group of Stalkers is actually so high, though, that realistically TLO just has to fight against this. You know, he can't just lift up and leave, because the Overlords will go down. A few Lings towards the front once again. He's going to try and get away with a few of these units, and actually the Stalkers were just pinned back enough so that he could make it work. This pylon continue to take damage, and Adept warping in over on this side, and the Zerglings get very close to taking down the pylon at the front here and opening up access to the natural once more, but it's not quite going to happen. He is going to kill the pylon off. Runs in, loses a Ling or 2 to kill off that pylon. And so just another 100 minerals he forces from his opponents. But worker count, again, is so important to keep an eye on here. And we just see that TLO is still down 3 workers in this game. A couple of them drones coming back towards the main base, as those Zerglings just coming over to the right-hand side, or thinking about coming over to the right-hand side as well. As we're going to see the Lings just thinking of jumping up in towards the Overlords once more, I imagine, and TLO just going to keep up with this aggression. He's kind of adding on a nice mixture of drones and Ling Bane. And he's still only on 2 bases, though, which is, of course, you know, as a Zerg player, you generally want to try and stay a base ahead or whatever, you know, that kind of classic old saying, that classic old tip people say. I mean, he needs the 3rd hatchery at some point soon, but if you can keep his opponent on 2 bases for now, it's not all bad. I just think the main issue really is for TLO. Well, I guess he's going to get a few roaches out. Now, I just think ShoWTimE really is starting to build up. In the last few trades, definitely haven't been favouring TLO at all. He's only 500 down in resources lost, but he was behind in workers for a long time initially, remember? And even when ShoWTimE was behind in workers, it's only by 2 or 3 compared to TLO, who was for a long time behind by 10 plus workers. So it's ShoWTimE, he really is looking quite comfortable and quite stable right now. With Blink on the way, he's getting into that kind of Blink Stalker Adept phase of the game. And I'm just going to see a few Adept Shading Forwards just as TLO cancels the Evolution Chamber. The Adepts are going to start moving through. With Resonating Glaives, they could maybe fight against this, but they're not going to risk it, though. They cancel that Shade. And while TLO is still just left with an Overlord here and there to try and drop with, but I mean, it's still going to be difficult. This 3rd base from ShoWTimE going to be established here very soon. He's adding on extra gateways as well, just making sure he's playing safe. I mean, I think he's just seen with the Adepts that there's no 3rd base once more. So, knowing that there's still no 3rd base, he's very happy to just make sure he's playing safe, adding the gateways before the 3rd nexus, and so on and so on. As this attempt to drop in towards the natural is unsuccessful, ShoWTimE is paying too much attention, so TLO doesn't do anything. Loses 1 Zergling out of this Overlord, and that is all. And again, ShoWTimE still just set up defensively here. As this first game of, again, best of 5 throughout the entire tournament, guys. If you don't know what the format is for WCS Challenger League, it's best of 5s all the way through a double elimination bracket where the winner of the winner bracket advances in first place and the winner of the losers bracket advances in second place. Both first and second place get to go to the DreamHack Summer the WCS Summer Championship at DreamHack Montreal, but only. But there's still a prize money difference, so there is, of course, it's worth staying in the winner's bracket, obviously, and it makes your kind of qualification route a lot easier and a lot quicker as well. As you can see, TLO did put down that roach when we saw that before, and he is going to go for kind of a big Ravager attack here. Now, TLO's, work account definitely hasn't been looking good, but one thing that has been looking sort of okay for him has been the army count to some extent. But these Lings, they're fighting pylons right now. We're going to see a couple of Banelings dropping in, and actually these Depths are going to take a lot of damage. Files will force them back up this ramp. Another Baneling coming forwards. That little, that softening up of the Banelings here is nice little pickup as well by TLO, lifting 2 of those Ravagers up. Another Ravager falls. A few Stalkers blinking over to the left-hand side, and again, we're just going to see these Ravagers continuing to trade against these Adepts and these Stalkers and a couple of Sentries. So we're going to see a few more Roaches continue to come in, and I'll just continue to look to see what they can get up to. We're going to see this third Nexus is maybe going to get taken down. This is obviously the one thing which TLO really wants to try and get done, but now he's completely trapped in this corner. He doesn't have any reinforcing units in to kind of come and help him, and these Ravagers do get force fielded away now, and it's not even really worth him putting the kind of the files down to stop this force fields, to pop those force fields. Better for him to just keep on fighting, I think. Otherwise, he's just gonna, he's gonna lose those units anyway. So better to just kind of fight and get as much damage as he can onto the Protoss army. But with Blink, I mean, this is the thing. ShoWTimE's so far ahead in the tech tree. I mean, TLO now is on the left, so he's starting up Roach Speed. But that's his first kind of real tech of the game. I mean, okay, it's only gateway units out of ShoWTimE and an Immortal, I guess. But these gateway units have Twilight Council upgrades, and it's kind of similar tier units. But with upgrades on them, obviously ShoWTimE's are going to be a lot stronger. As we're going to see this Ling Roach Ravager force coming in, wrapping around, and we're going to see these Roaches and Ravagers just coming forwards. And, well, actually, I mean, the Roaches, Ravagers, a couple of battles actually doing a pretty good job. The Immortal goes down, but it's just sheer numbers here for ShoWTimE. He blinks forwards aggressively into the Roaches once again. Another couple of battles continue to fall. This army to the top side is so low on health. And to be fair, I mean, ShoWTimE might lose a lot of this very quickly if this starts to go TLO's way, which it is beginning to do. No warp prisms or no immediate warp-ins for ShoWTimE. And so TLO holds on for a little while longer. Free Worker's down, still down in army, actually, but hey, he holds on again, and another trade like that, another couple of trades like that, and TLO could definitely maybe find himself sort of back in this game. ShoWTimE needs to be cautious not to overcommit, or if he does commit, make sure he's got them warp-ins available. And that is where that warp prism, which is on the way out right now, is going to become very, very useful in the very, very near future. So, you're going to see this third Nexus from ShoWTimE as well, just finally finishing up. Obviously, he got cancelled previously, is now up and running. TLO saturating his third base as well. He's actually got a few mineral patches. He's still, well, I mean, very few minerals actually. He's got like less than 300 minerals in this main base still available to him. Something like a warp in the main base and then an attack at the front could work for ShoWTimE as well, of course. I mean, there's a lot of different possibilities, and well, I'm still a little bit worried for TLO. I mean, even if this sort of, even if he survives here, look at the production tab. Robo Bay, Dark Shrine. We see continued tech production coming in from ShoWTimE, whereas TLO is still just on kind of Ling Roach Ravager. Yeah, he's got Roach Speed now, but where, what next? There's no Hydra Den. There's no tech in towards the, he's no teching in towards kind of a later stage of this game. As we're going to see these Lings, Ravagers, and a few Roaches just joined up together over to the left, as we're going to see the Warp Prism rolling forwards in towards the third base here. We're going to see a few Adepts just begin to unload. I'm just going to start cleaning up a few of these drones. So a few drones getting cleaned up. I'm just going to be seeing the Queen taking a little bit of damage as well. Drones actually going to get pulled in for us around. As you see the Roaches and Ravagers continue to try and trade up front just a little bit further. TLO realizing he just doesn't have enough anymore, though, to really make this work out. And so ShoWTimE is going to take game number 1 as TLO as it comes. And we'll see what the other streamers want to take as well, of course. And so on and so on. So let's jump into game number 2 then, which is going to be on Frozen Temple, which is, well, a shorter map. It's a 2-player map. A lot of differences to Frost. The only real similarities on this map to Frost is probably that it's kind of a, it's got just, the map name starts with FRO, and it's an icy kind of tile set. I guess in a way though, it's also kind of very counterattack heavy, which Frost can be. And actually also there's kind of this open, so I guess a few kind of differences. This kind of open ledge on the main base isn't really very abusable in PvZ. We sort of saw the only way it can be abused in ZvP actually just previously on the last map, which was that kind of Ling drop. Very easy to make work into the main base, but yeah, other than that, it's not kind of as big a deal as kind of Reapers are in the other matchups and so on. So we'll see how this plays out. As to the top left hand side, playing from a deficit now. He's 1-0 down. Can he pull himself back in? It is going to be our red Zerg play from Team Liquid. It is TLO. And down to the bottom right-hand side, it will be our blue Protoss player from Millennium. I want to hear you guys give a little bit of love to ShoWTimE. 1-0 up. I mean, this guy is the WCS Spring Champion. He secured himself a place at BlizzCon. He is probably one of the best foreign players right now. I mean, I think we can all agree on that, right? I mean, he's one of these players who is just so good. You know, he's up there with, you know, he's always at the top of the ladder. He's always up there in these events, in these tournaments he attends, with, you know, in the qualifiers as well. He's done the last few players alongside players like Nurture quite consistently, and Snoot. As we do just set up into the second game, guys, and have a look to see how this is going to be going over the next few moments, of course. So, I'm going to see an Evo Chamber already on the way down from TLO. Is he going to be the same build again? Well, he's adding on 2 extra drones. He's going to go up to 20 workers at least this time. But I guess last time he had 19 workers, then he made the Bane Nest. Or 20 workers, then made the Bane Nest to bring him to 19. But he's still making workers, so it's actually just going to be... It's going to be kind of a Ling drop again, but not as committed. It's only going to be 8 Zerglings this time around, most likely. And then sort of making something happen, unless he's just going to go off of, you know, go for the same idea off of kind of a higher work count. Let's see if he takes the third hatchery, as we'll see that popping down. It could also just be maybe not a drop it. Oh, wait. Did he cancel the Evo? What was he building an Evo for then? Have I just completely missed something? I'm not sure. Anyway, so it's not going to be an Evo chamber. Maybe the probe scouted it, and so TLO just decided not to do it. Or maybe it was a mind game that he wanted his opponent to scout. I actually just lost the vision there because the Adept shaded. So yeah, you can see he spotted the Evolution Chamber, so ShoWTimE thinks he scouted this, but in reality it's just TLO playing mind games. So, TLO is just going to play a much more standard playstyle this time, and already ShoWTimE seeing the third hatchery is something we didn't see out of TLO last time. ShoWTimE, yes, he saw the fact that his opponent was, you know, looking to take a third hatch. He had the drone in position to take a third hatchery, but never actually did it. So already seeing that gives ShoWTimE the information he needs. There's 8 lings coming across the map here, and I'm just going to poke around a bit as we also see a bit of a different opening out of ShoWTimE here in game number 2. This time he'll go open with the Stargate, and so TLO so close to that on the low ground but can't quite see it, of course, without the high ground vision. And we'll start moving an Overlord forwards to try and pick that information up. I think it's just sat nearby as the first Oracle will be popping out, and well, let's see how safely TLO is going to play here in the next few moments. If he adds on, you know, a Spore Crawl or 2 in each of the mineral lines, well, not 2 Spore Crawls, but he adds on a Spore Crawl in each mineral line, and he's going to be very safe against this Oracle. He'll take, you know, lose a couple of workers, but not too much. And he is going to do that as well, so just playing this safely. I think the Oracle might have flown over the Zerglings there, actually. So, I'm going to be seeing this Oracle coming across, and we'll be off and away into the natural, perhaps? Nope, not going to. I mean, 3 Queens nearby, and with that extra range, I mean, again, it's only 1 range, but it actually does have quite a big impact. It means that it completely changes the kind of the way you micro, and it just gives you that little bit of extra kind of jump start on kind of an Oracle as well. And then, you know, when the Oracle's leaving as well, it allows you to continue targeting that Oracle for a little while longer, as we see the Zerglings from TLO collecting together towards the front, as we're going to see an Oracle again just sat overhead from ShoWTimE. So, Oracles, a couple of them just sat overhead, as we're going to see the Zerglings coming forwards, and we're just going to see a probe being targeted down already. We're going to see those few Adepts from ShoWTimE as well. Actually, in a little bit of you know, out on their own, really. We're going to see the Lings continue to commit despite the overcharge, and they get 1, 2, 3, and 4 Adept kills, so actually in the end, fairly worthwhile. I mean, yeah, it was a lot of Lings that went down. Actually, 20 Lings that have gone down throughout the game, but for 4 Adepts, just slows down that kind of unit count a little bit for his opponent. See 2 Oracles now. They still haven't really committed onto any units at all. Just continuing to scout, and actually taking quite a bit of damage from those Queens. One of them dropping to half health with shields lost as well. So that's something that ShoWTimE just wants to be cautious of. These Oracles are not units you make just to throw away 2 minutes later. They're units you make to kind of use throughout the entirety of the game to scout, to give vision. I mean, Oracles later in the game against Lurkers are actually something which are very useful because they're so much more reliable in terms of detection than an Observer is when there's kind of Hydras and Overseers looking to pick up, you know, Observers off at all points in time. So, good to keep those Oracles alive, and obviously what ShoWTimE is doing, he did poke in, kill a couple of workers, but not too much. And TLO is still actually a few workers behind, so just needs to keep up with that. As maybe it's just the Zerglings that he traded away, and maybe that's one of the reasons he maybe shouldn't have traded those away, because then he had to make more Zerglings to be able to fight against, you know, take down these rocks, and just have a presence on the map still. As you do see, again, Oracle's just being turned away, not overcommitting, no, just sticking around, and Well, there's TLO. Obviously, we already know he's going for a much different play to what he was going for in the last game. But there's that Hydra's Den to give us a bit of an idea as to how exactly this might start to look. If the Lurker Den going to be added on in the very near future, we'll also see kind of Hydra range and speed coming in as well, probably. As we see those couple of oracles. Going to move in towards the main base. Going to see a revelation dropping down from ShoWTimE. Now, revelation does drop down. We're going to see the queen just come in and chase one of them oracles again, getting very low. ShoWTimE gets himself some good vision. Sees the Hydra's Den, and again is actually most likely wanted to try and maybe come in here and try and spot if that Hydra Den is researching muscular augments, or if it's morphing into a Lurker Den. Because that is, of course, great information as to how this game is continuing. Now, we did see a Bane Nest added on earlier from TLO. No Bane speed just yet, despite the lair being finished. But maybe we do see a Hydra Bane playstyle out of him. I mean, he's going into Hydras. He is going to range upgrades, yes, but he's got a lot of Lings on the map. And well, let's see. I mean, generally when you go Hydras, you go fairly aggressively with them. You don't just sit back and defend. I mean, that's what you would do if you were going to go for, you know, if you're going to go for Lurkers. So with Hydras, you're generally looking to be a presence on the map, and that's generally done with you kind of well, hold that forward actually, because Zerglings come in and actually get a pretty big surround here on this army. I mean, a lot of force fields have to be used here by ShoWTimE just to try and keep himself alive. There's a few Banes already running in, and actually ShoWTimE gets completely caught off guard here, and he gets completely taken down. That's actually a huge play by TLO. All the sentries dead, and obviously if he continues to make Banelings and so on, that's going to be huge. And actually ShoWTimE taking the 4th base to the upper right side, he's going to lose that as well, so that's going to be cancelled immediately. TLO will pull back for now. Doesn't have a lot of creep spread to work with down this right hand side, so does have to be cautious. As we're just going to be seeing the Hydras and Lings just going to finish off those rocks, opening up the map for himself. Great catch by TLO. Obviously, ShoWTimE not really expecting his opponent to be out in such high numbers over here at that sort of point in the game. And so wasn't expecting to go up against that at all. Now this Hydra push is starting to look very scary, because you look at this, there's not any kind of sentries to buy, you know, buy much time. Well, there is a few sentries now, but they don't have anywhere near as many force fields as they had a few moments ago. As you see them units just collecting together towards the 4th base once again. Lings and Hydras are moving forwards. I'm just looking to see what they might be able to get up to. So Lings, Hydras moving forwards here, continue to push in. You'll see a couple of force fields coming down, 4 force fields dropping on down there by ShoWTimE. And again, it is just going to be TLO who's just set up in a position to try and punish this 4th base. I'm still surprised over the lack of Baneland speed. Maybe he doesn't want to use a high number of Banelands in the army, just a handful here or there. So more kind of Ling Hydra than Hydra Bane. But we do see the Lurker Den on the way down, so that transition is coming as we see TLO is going to run into Staff Squad. Nice little use of that there by ShoWTimE. As you see the Hydras though in such a great concave. Starting to push on through, but has to be cautious still. Pulls back, just wants to kind of, you know, his opponent to fight into him rather than him fighting into his opponent. Just give himself a little bit of a concave advantage, and TLO just keeping up the pressure to his side. He also wants to probably keep a good number of Hydras alive because he's about to morph in a few Lurkers. And honestly, this army from ShoWTimE is pretty much as anti... you know, you get armies which are kind of anti-Lurker, right, which is designed to kill Lurkers. This is kind of the complete opposite of one of those armies, because what is there here to deal with Lurkers? Stalkers are actually good at all, you know, actually crap against Lurkers, straight up. 1 Immortal isn't really enough. We see 3 Lurkers finishing up here, 2 will burrow. Immediately ShoWTimE begins to pull away from this position. Lings will counterattack into the 4th base. Overcharge already put down though. ShoWTimE responding to this very quickly, very easily. There's a few more Stalkers come in. And we are going to be seeing them Hydras coming in from the north side once again. The sentries, I mean, ShoWTimE's been trained very well here lately, and then force fields are continuing to be a pain for TLO, but he is starting to get those Lurkers into position. This is where that Oracle comes into play. There's a Revelation dropping on all the Lurkers, actually, giving TLO that vision he wants. A couple of Lurkers kind of morphing in very aggressively, and we are going to see actually a big blink forwards now, starting to target down these Lurkers. I mean, the Lurker number not high enough to really be super terrifying for TLO just yet, as we see 1 or 2 Banelings do make their way through towards a couple of sentries, and well, some of the Lurkers in the back not really kind of joining this fight. So the Hydra number falling, but as is the Protoss army, TLO continuing to trade here over to the right side. Another Lurker finishes morphing in, going to move forwards with that, burrow it as well. Hydra's continue to target down whatever possible here. As we see that Cannon continue to take down. Cannon actually has 13 kills. Will fall to the Lurker eventually, but man, 13 kill Cannon. It's been doing a lot of defense over here as we see Stalkers moving forwards again, but you can just see these Lurkers are starting to get in position. The numbers are actually starting to rise up now. 4 Lurkers in total. There's 1 observer overhead, and that's obviously going to be key for ShoWTimE to be able to keep on detecting these. All the Immortals have their barriers on cooldowns, and it looks as though TLO is slowly gaining position on this 4th base. And ShoWTimE already pulling his probes away, giving this up now, realizing he can't hold this location any longer. And game number 2 is definitely continuing to look to go into TLO's favor right now, as we see ShoWTimE will try and establish a base down towards the bottom left-hand side of the map, putting that 4th expansion down. once again. So just taking a bit of a different base here as we have the lurkers. A couple more of them going to be finishing morphing in here very, very soon. And it's just going to be seeing these couple of lurkers. And the Hydras and the Lings moving forwards. Again, still don't really like this army from ShoWTimE. I still don't feel as though the Stalkers are something which trade well enough here against this sort of stuff. I mean, they're very good against Hydra Bane, but when the Lurker transition comes in, I generally feel as though you need to kind of start maybe changing into something a little bit different. That being said, the Immortal count is starting to get up there as the Hydras come into position. Now, this will force a fight out of ShoWTimE, because if he doesn't fight into this, he will be kind of losing his natural expansion. So he has to find a way to fight in very soon. Cybercore goes down. It's a big loss, because that means no more Stalker weapons. But that being said, he is focusing on Zealot production now anyways. Hydras continuing over to the left-hand side to the right. A few Stalkers are coming forward. These Lurkers continuing to be kind of the backbone of the army, and they're going to pull just a little bit further forward to make sure they can stay in range of a close player. ShoWTimE has to type out GG, and this series goes and keep the action rolling. One game apiece now, as the bottom left side of Ulrena will be the red Zerg player from Team Liquid. Let's hear it, guys, if you're cheering on TLO. And in the upper left, it will be our blue Protoss player from Millennium. It is going to be ShoWTimE. A little bit of self-promo incoming, as we will have Millennium versus Team Liquid as the grand finals of this season's ShoWTimE League, coming up just after DreamHack Valencia. Looking forward to that. Hope you guys are as well. Will we see TLO ShoWTimE once again then? Well, maybe. Looking forward to it. It was a really great series, Millennium versus Liquid, when they met in the groups. Definitely by far, I think, the two strongest teams so far this season, and showing it by moving on into the finals. Let me just tab a moment, guys. With a 3-minute delay, it's a little bit frustrating because I have to tab to be able to. I have to like tab a minute into like casting after a break, or 2-minute break to kind of run the ads. So I have to tab momentarily. So apologies for that. Anyways. So, as we kick things off, I mean, we see, you know, just TLO going in towards 3 bases, most likely very soon. He actually drops out of Rotron, so maybe ignore me completely here. He did go gas pool, hatch gas pool, but he's going to go into Rotron, skip the Ling speed. And a few Lings across the map. There's a Adept coming out as well. These Lings are going to try and sneak by. That might pull the Adept back, actually. And that could be a little bit annoying, because Mothership Core is now just, TLO starts to work his way against the pylon. And we'll pull this Adept back, which is, again, nice, because if he's going to be playing a style here where he wants to, you know, play in this kind of roach aggression, the later this is scouted by ShoWTimE, the better this is going to be for TLO. So this is really nice, actually. It's kind of a smart little move by moving them Lings in, forces the Adept back, and so ShoWTimE doesn't scout. Does see the lack of a third base already, though. So, does already see the lack of a third base, and that's something for him to keep in mind here, as we see the Adept just shading down towards the bottom left. 8 roaches on the way up. And so TLO going to get super aggressive here so quickly on Ulrena. And this Adept shades through, sees the roaches, and so here we go, defense mode. The other thing is as well, ShoWTimE actually already used a Photon Overcharge previously on this pylon to deal with those 4 Zerglings. And of course that is, well, less than ideal, considering he's going to need as many overcharges as possible to realistically fight against these roaches in the very near future here. So this is going to be interesting. We'll see TLO will probably buff in a couple of Ravagers with the roaches at the back, although he might just go straight up. I mean, the Mothership Core doesn't have energy for an overcharge until right now. Our first pylon goes down, second pylon going to be targeted, and I mean, he's not even going to drop the overcharge because he just knows the pylons are dying so fast. ShoWTimE is in a bit of trouble here. These probes do catch a few of these roaches and block them in. Another Stalker warps into the right-hand side. There is 2 warp gates available. As we see, TLO just going to continue moving forwards. I'd love to see him morph these 2 roaches here with low in health into Ravagers and just get them to kind of set to go. But now he's actually going to run into an overcharge. So in the end, TLO kind of commits in towards the main base of his opponent and does take a little bit more damage because of that. But or just, you know, doesn't take more damage, but kind of loses out on some units because of that. ShoWTimE in the end, well, he comes out 11 workers behind, 12 workers behind ish. So 11 workers killed off. Pretty good attack by TLO, however, he's currently without a third base, so that's something ShoWTimE can keep in mind here as he's just beginning to move across, and so moving across the map with these Stalkers means that ShoWTimE can apply pressure and also slow down TLO from just continuing to make workers as well. And actually TLO hitting a supply block with that Overlord death, that will hurt him a little bit here as well as he tries to defend against this. His Lings don't have speed just yet either, so these Lings, I mean, Stalkers can actually kite for days against those Zerglings. As we'll see ShoWTimE coming in, sees no third hatch yet. TLO does hide the drone away to the side. In the end, TLO in a little bit of trouble. He did a good amount of damage with this, but his counterattack is beginning to hurt him here as the Zerglings do come around, though. The Stalkers are beginning to get a little bit trapped. Drones being pulled as well. As we see 3 of the Stalkers getting trapped there, and well, TLO obviously just kind of pull as much as he can to try and survive this, but look at that, none of the Stalkers actually end up going down, and so ShoWTimE just finds himself continuing to pressure at the front, and now it's TLO, he's in a lot of trouble. Now Ling Speed's about to finish up, 16 more Lings on the way, but before that finishes we'll see 1 Queen going down, another Queen getting very low. Roaches continue to take damage too. 3 more Stalkers have warped in, they've come across the map now as well. Another Stalker gets traded by the Roaches. As the Lings come in with speed, that's when ShoWTimE maybe is overcommitting here just a little bit, because the Lings will go towards that exit path, and they will block the Stalkers from getting away there, and continue to use the Lings to try and trap them in to stop them from getting away from these Roaches as easily. And we'll see actually only 4 Stalkers left over at the end of this. Is it going to be 4? Is it going to be 3? 1 Roach left over to the side, but I mean, Roach is already moving across the map. A few units already come into play, and so this sentry is going to be able to force field. And that Roach right there is completely stuck in position, can't get out of that force field at all. So Roach getting a little bit stuck, and well, there's not another force field available just yet. There's the next sentry warping in, but TLO is already kind of ready to go with this aggression. He's across the map, and well, these Lings are thinking about moving forward. He's going to come in around these couple of Zealots. Overcharge popped, and we'll see TLO just backing away for a moment or two. Doesn't want to fight in range of those pylons. As we see another Zealot or two just continue to take just a little bit of damage here. Then he's going to run over to the right hand side from TLO as well. So they're going to run on over to the right as we see the Roaches from TLO. Well, they'll join up over on this left hand side. 3rd hatchery on the way. Now that 3rd hatchery comes in so late here. So very, very late 3rd base from TLO. And that's worth keeping in mind as well, as this aggression continues from him. He's still also 9 workers down, so after being ahead in workers, just because he's been forced into so many units recently instead of drones, while ShoWTimE's been consistently making workers, he has ended up falling quite behind in the worker lead and the worker count. So TLO has to find himself something here, otherwise he might fall into just a little bit too much trouble. Roach speed is about to finish, so Roach speed is about to finish up. And we'll see these Roaches, a couple of Lings and a Ravager just collecting on the left hand side as well. A few more Roaches out for TLO too. Just coming up the left hand side of the map, so just going to be having a look to see ShoWTimE is whether he can get some damage done. He's very safe here, because if he is in trouble, he can get up this side and he can force field to keep his opponent's units away and buy himself time to back off. As you see TLO, well, he might just be continuing to be aggressive right now. ShoWTimE doesn't actually see he sees the lack of drones on the 3rd base, and that might be enough for him to just say, well, you know what, if you'll continue to make units and not drone it, then that's enough for me to back away and get into defensive mode. And he does back off because of that. Starts 2 pylons at the front, so he begins to set up defensively. As we'll see TLO, though, already ready to come in here. 2 Ravagers is going to be enough with these Roaches and Lings. He's ahead in army supply, but you got to remember that's an army supply lead with an army which is, well, just not as efficient in terms of supply. He will cancel the 3rd base, so TLO, you know, making use of this larger army which he has here, so he's making something happen with it. But it's very similar to game number 1 in a lot of ways, in the sense that he's just stuck on kind of Roach Ravager. But he has a Protoss army, which, well, isn't super kind of tech heavy just yet, but is starting to get there. Because we're going to see TLO picks off another pylon, another Ravager morphs in. And Biles very important for him right here, because then Biles are one of the things which can definitely be used by TLO to kind of manipulate these fights into his favor, as we see the Roaches and Ravagers. And again, splitting up, getting ready to go, pushing forwards here. Stalkers go in, they pick off a single Zergling to begin with, another Ferocious Bile drops down, misses this army. Observer coming in, just going to be overhead in a moment or two. A few Lings already jumping onto a probe there, stopping it, or just, you know, pushing it away from the 3rd base. TLO's one of his main goals right now is probably just to keep his opponent off the 3rd base and keep him kind of stuck on 2 bases here. And you know, that's definitely one way TLO can maybe fight himself back into this game, as we see Ling Roach Ravager continue to come in, and you know, he's actually going to go for a little bit of a split up here. And that battle maybe a little bit preemptive to pop what he thought could have been a couple of force fields across this angle. First disruptor of the game about to come up from ShoWTimE. We saw him trying to head in towards those in game 1, but in the end managed to win the game without actually needing those. And there is one disruptor popping out right here, and he's going to get ready to go towards the front, I imagine. Roach Ravager just going to be pulling back a little bit against these Stalkers, which are continuing to give chase. Big Blink forwards, and so TLO, does he turn to fight? No. He needs to back away. Overlord here starting to spread some creep. Wants to get the Queen forwards to actually put a creep tumor down. He's desperately trying to get here. He will actually drop the creeping time once again from the Overlord, so he will start creeping up the center of the map a little bit faster than we might have been expecting. So just, you know, expediting the creep spread here, allowing himself to be a little bit more aggressive in the center of the map. And we'll see this army in the center here. We're going to see some force fields coming down. Disruptor shot at the back not being used just yet. Biles being used just to pop the force fields, and so we see ShoWTimE continue to push through the center. That Queen going to go down, and Ravager once again just pushing those few units back up towards the top side of the map. We see a few units peeling away to the side from TLO, getting ready to go in for what would be a huge concave, a huge flank. And is this going to be it? TLO coming in, he's a little bit late on a few of these units to the right hand side. There's a disruptor shot or two. They actually, well, one of them hits, the other one misses, so it's not the best kind of disruptor shots in the world. They definitely could have hit a lot more there, so good control, good split by TLO to minimize the damage he's taking. And we'll see another couple of battles pop in, another couple of force fields. TLO with this army still feeling as though he can be aggressive. The disruptors on cooldown for a few more moments. There's one in the back which is fresh, which is on off cooldown. As we see TLO splitting again, only one Ravager going down. Still good trades by him against the Ravagers. That's a bit of a better disruptor shot, and actually that might just give ShoWTimE momentum in general to blink forwards. He blinks on top of these units. The Ravagers are starting to go down, and ShoWTimE seems to have quite a bit. He has these approaches that keep on dropping. TLO will tap out, and ShoWTimE's army was just too good. I mean, we're right away here to the bottom left hand side. Our red Zerg player is going to be from Team Liquid. It's TLO. And down to the bottom right, it's going to be our blue pros player. It's going to be ShoWTimE. Is Wardy never reading chat? I'm trying to keep things serious today, mate. WCS people don't like all this communicating with the chat nonsense, and with a 3-minute delay it's pretty difficult anyways, so during the series, this sort of delay, I tend to actually talk about the games, which actually people seem to enjoy sometimes, which is absolutely ridiculous, I know, right? But yeah, as we set up into this, guys, it is going to be ShoWTimE TLO game number 4. Ruins of Endian is interesting in map dynamic with the way the rocks work out. It's a very easy 4 base for a Protoss player on this map, and so we'll see if TLO wants to try and do something about that early, like that, just hiding a drone away to the side, making sure he doesn't get blocked on that hatchery. He actually went TLO for pool first, so pool hatch gas, and we'll see what those Zerglings are going to be for. Maybe just kind of taking down rocks. Again, these rocks do create very interesting dynamic in the map, because if they get taken, you can take them down, leave them up. I actually saw them being used earlier between Bjorn and Scarlet in the W Star Masters final today. Bjorn actually killed off the rocks on Scarlet's side of the map, where Scarlet's roaches were out over here. Bjorn killed the rocks, lifted up, dropped in here, and all of Scarlet's army was stuck outside of her base and couldn't come in to defend. So there's a lot of different things you can do with those rocks. You can use them defensively, you can leave them open because that gives you more map control. And we'll of course see how it turns out and how both players are going to see it in the video future. But I imagine with early links from TLO, he probably does want to try and already start working against the rocks and actually just locking himself in and shutting down any kind of potential for kind of adept play styles, and just shutting down any kind of early Protoss pressure, so you can just go straight up to 3 bases, just purely drone, add on a couple of spores of course. And the only thing he has to really be cautious of is any kind of warp prism based play. So we'll see what happens here. I mean, if ShoWTimE sees those rocks going down for TLO as well, though, we might very well see him just going up into a very fast, greedy third Nexus himself. So, just going to be seeing the Lings continue to work their way through these rocks, and as those rocks get knocked down, we'll just be seeing the... again, I mean, TLO actually, what we might do is he might leave these rocks on very low health, and then use the, knock them down if he needs them to be knocked down a little bit later on. So let's see, as we're going to see these rocks. Do they block the adept from coming through? Not quite. So adept can either shade and be stuck here, or he is going to shade and be stuck here. So adept going to be stuck around here. Move up towards the third base, which of course isn't being taken just yet by TLO. And that's because he's continued to mine gas. He's actually going into a lair. This is actually pretty bad for TLO. He cannot afford this lair to be scouted, and well, ShoWTimE comes in, he's going to scout it straight away. So this is really unfortunate for TLO. His game plan to some extent has been figured out. And it was very reliant on kind of killing these rocks to kind of deny the scouting. Actually, that's what he was trying to kill these rocks for. But now he's going to have his lair scouted, and so immediately ShoWTimE knows something aggressive is on the way. Whether it's going to be whether it's going to be kind of a fast Spire, a Nidus play. I mean, those are the 2 main options. It is going to be that super fast Spire out of TLO, which is, well, not going to work out too well either, unfortunately, because there is a Stargate down from ShoWTimE. That was his opening to begin with anyways, and now he's actually going to go Phoenix as a way to kind of fight this. And I mean, Phoenix works out quite well, I guess, really. I mean, you can kill off Overlords, which will give vision for Nidus networks. They'll be able to kill off Phoenix. Mutas very easily to trade as well. So a lot of, a couple of different options here as we're going to see. Phoenix, I think, obviously the best choice, and of course, because we know it's a Spire, we know that this is 100% the best choice, as eventually this Adept will go down. ShoWTimE didn't see the Spire yet properly, did he? No, he didn't. So Phoenix will be a fantastic choice, though. I mean, TLO of 2 base gas production is only really going to be able to afford, you know, kind of a very small number of meters. And so already a Phoenix being out on the map is very kind of, well, worrying sign for TLO. I wonder if he even just says, well, you know what, this isn't going to work, cancel the spy. And in fact, he does cancel the spy and goes for Nidus instead. I mean, it makes sense because what's he really going to do with Midalists right now? He's going to do absolutely nothing. They're just going to straight up die to these Phoenix, and obviously that's not what he wants. So it'll just be a waste of investment. I'm going to go Nidus instead. He's got a Rotor on the way, so he's just going to try and pump out some Roaches. Drop that Nidus in the main or something. But I mean, you know, what's he going to drop the Nidus with? This Overseer, I guess? And it's starting to come into position. He's avoided the Phoenix for now. We'll see ShoWTimE still sees no third hatchery, so we'll still be kind of wondering himself a little bit here. Phoenix finds the Overseer, and it's again something else that just is not going TLO's way. He wants to try and get this Nidus up. He actually probably will get it. Changeling goes down. Another Overseer coming across the map. I mean, can anything go right for TLO right now? He is going to try and Nidus into the main base, so let's see if this works, because nothing else this game has worked for him so far. Immediately though, ShoWTimE adds on the second pylon, realizes that it's just going to be an overcharge, and because TLO wasn't aiming for kind of a Nidus initially, he's not really going to have a super scary number of queens or anything. Loading his queens in first, ready to kind of transfuse us. Now there's the overcharge. That's Nidus just going to get shut down so quickly. The Phoenix lifting up the queens so they can't transfuse. Nidus falls. Overcharge is still up actually, and it's kind of hard to see, but there's a few Roaches and units out underneath, but I mean, another Nidus tries to drop down. ShoWTimE just has so much ready to defend. And TLO just a move here which is unfortunately not going to play out for him. It's not going to pay off. You're going to see that next Nidus goes down too. And TLO just with the build order that just got shut down so quickly by, you know, when ShoWTimE actually scouted, when he got through those rocks. The decision to go through the rocks and commit with the Adept was the most important decision of this game from ShoWTimE, because without that, he doesn't necessarily know what's going on. He doesn't know what the opening is. Nidus across the map once more, and we see a few more Roaches have been picked off. TLO knows it is over. Unfortunately for him, he took one map here